In this lesson, we'll have a look at accordions and carousels, which are also known as sliders. Now, these are some very popular components nowadays and are present in most WordPress themes for sale. So let's start with accordions. Accordions refer to the Collapse plugin in Bootstrap. In order to use them, you must load up bootstrap-collapse.js. Now, using accordions is pretty simple. You just have to get used to a few classes. Let's build a very simple one. We'll start with a div with a class of accordion. And we'll also give it an ID, like my accordion. Next up, each accordion element is represented by an accordion group. Each group contains a heading and a body. So we're going to have div with a class of accordion heading plus a div with a class of accordion body. Now, the accordion heading contains the link that will actually collapse or expand the actual content. So we're going to say a link with a class of accordion toggle. Okay. href, we'll leave this blank for now, but we will add data toggle equals collapse, and also data parent equals the ID of the parent accordion. In my case, it's my accordion, so let's copy this. Let's also give it a name. Next up, we'll take care of the accordion body. Now, inside it, we'll create another div with a class of accordion inner. Now, this is necessary because it will add various paddings. And inside, you can just have some basic text like this. Alright, so let's check it out so far. The styling is spot on, but actually nothing really works so far because we first have to give the accordion body an ID, and let's call that like collapse 1, and this ID will be the href of the accordion trigger, collapse 1. And next up, we must add the class of collapse to the accordion body. Okay, just like that. And if we check it out, it's now hidden. So you need to add this class to any accordion content that you want to hide. So if we click it, now it's going to show up. Perfect. So now our accordion is fully functional. Let's add two more elements by just copying the accordion group. Also, we're going to change some names here so we can differentiate them, and also some IDs. 2, 3 and 2, 3. All right, great. So now everything is collapsed, and you can hide them or show them by clicking on their respective links. Now you can specify which accordion element should be opened by default by adding the class of in to the accordion body, just like this. Okay, so we added on the first item, and as you can see, it's now showing. Now, I did make a small mistake in the code because normally an accordion should only show one content at a time. In other words, when you click on the second item, the first one or the other one that's opened should be closed. And the problem was that data parent should include the hash sign if you're referring to an ID. Okay, just like that. And now it acts just like an accordion. Clicking one item will hide the visible one. Now, you don't have to use this exact markup to create an accordion. You can also trigger the expanding and collapsing through a button or a link. So let's see an example real quick. HR, and I'll create a simple div with an ID of demo, and also with a class of collapse and in. So we're using the classes we would normally apply to the accordion body. Okay, and inside some content. Great. Now this is currently showing because we used the in class. Let's create a trigger, a button. So button with a class of btn primary. Let's do this. Toggle demo, for example, and we'll say data toggle will be collapse, and then data target will be demo. All right, so let's check it out. Toggle demo, click, and that's hidden. Click again, and it's shown. All right, perfect. The carousel is basically a content slider. It can hold images or any kind of HTML. It's powered by the bootstrap-carousel.js file, so make sure you include it. The markup is much simpler than the accordion we just created. We'll start with a div with a class of carousel. And also we'll give it an ID, like my carousel. All right, something like that. Now inside the div, you can place your content in a div with a class of carousel inner. And each slide will be represented by a div with a class of item. So div class item. And as I said, you can place any kind of content. Let's stick with the basic example of using an image. So I'm going to use an img source. Let's just grab a dummy image, like 1170 by, let's do like 500. Alt demo. Let's create 3 more items, just like that, and slightly change their images. So now let's check it out. You can see nothing is happening because we need to add the class of active to one of the divs to mark that div as the current slide. All right, so now we have an image. And you notice nothing is sliding yet. That's because we need to add the nav, the navigation. To do that, there are 2 links. You can add one of them, A, with a class of carousel control, and we can also specify left or right, depending on where we want to put it. So in my case, this will be the previous link. So I'm going to say left. Okay. The href should point to the ID of the carousel. So my carousel. And also, we're going to say data slide equals prev. And we're using that just to mark that this is the previous button. And also inside we can place like a little arrow. All right, let's copy it and create the next link. href stays the same, class will change to right, and data slide will be next. All right, so small trouble with the images here. They're not loading properly. But if you click it, now you're gonna have a working slider. If you want to add the slide effect, you can append the class of slide to the main carousel. Okay, so now it slides instead of just statically switching the images. You can also add descriptions for the images. So for example, on the first image, I'm gonna say div with a class of carousel caption. And this one includes an h4 for the title, plus a paragraph for the description. Some title and some description. All right, and there it is. Now, the carousel can also have some small indicators which will be present in the top right corner. So let's go ahead and add those. We'll put them right here as an OL ordered list with a class of carousel indicators. Okay, and we're just going to place a list item. We'll specify data target my carousel, so we're pointing to our parent carousel, and also data slide to the number of the slide. In my case, this is the first one, so I'm going to put 0. All right, let's copy this and change the attribute values. Okay, now as you can see, this added 4 circles right here on the top right corner, and if you click any one of them, it's going to change slides. Now you can also add the class of active to any one of them to specify the active slide. In my case, this is the first one. At this point, we've learned pretty much everything we need to start working with Bootstrap on a live project. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. We'll take all this theory and put it to good use. We'll have a set of wireframes for a basic website, and we'll use Bootstrap to build it. That's coming up next.